What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Beers and. Today, we're going to be talking about beers and computers.
Oh, you almost did though.
I didn't do it.
You almost wanted to say,
"Hey." I heard it in my head, and I was like, "Stop it! You stop it right now!" What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. My name is Alex, and this is Nick, as always.
Hello.
And we are the Beers and Podcast. Please follow us on Instagram or YouTube at Beers and Podcast. You know, like and subscribe and all that stuff, or on Twitter at Beers and One.
Yeah. We're gonna hit you real early with all the ways we want you to talk to us, to see us, to hear us in all of our glory.
That's right. So today we're talking about computers, as we said, and we're drinking Tree House.
Finally.
Yes.
Finally.
So I don't even know if we've ever talked about it on the show at all, but Tree House is one of the country's most renowned breweries.
Oh, I didn't. You've always spoken about Tree House, but I didn't know that was the case. That's the renown.
So they're based out of just outside of Boston, Massachusetts. Their first building.
Yeah.
Because there are other ones. There are satellite ones now. But they're ranked by Untapped as the 8th best brewery in the country.
Really?
And by Beer Advocate as I think, number 3 in the top 10.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
And we have some here today.
And we have some here. So we were actually going to do something totally different. We were going to have a seltzer today.
Yeah.
But then on the way to come see Nick, I picked up Tree House from one of my friends, or two of my friends, Stan and Amanda. So thank you guys.
Thanks, Demanda. That's your couple's name I just came up with right here on the spot.
Fun little fact there. Last name is Bro. Breau.
Demand a bro? Listen, I demand a bro too.
Somebody.
Demand a bro.
This stuff writes itself.
Right?
Yep. So we're talking about computers today.
Yes, we are.
Did you know that you can do you know how to stop a laptop's charge from running out?
How to stop a laptop's charge from running out? No, I didn't realize we were going to be doing like life pro tips today too.
You just hide its trainers.
Oh, God.
You know, like trainers, like shoes.
No, I am.
I just wanted to make sure.
Very, very aware with what we're going for.
Jokes
here.
are back.
Yeah, you know what? I'll allow it because I feel like you've held back the past couple episodes.
Sure. So
I'll let this go. We're gonna have a good goddamn day.
They always say everything in moderation.
Yeah. Even less.
They do, right? What's less than moderate? Not at all.
Yeah, coming from the two of us, our entire show is all based on
a lack of moderation.
A lack of moderation. Yeah.
So let's stick with the theme. All right, jokes every episode.
Okay.
Let's get into
what do you got?
Let's get into the Treehouse.
Before we start, I actually do have a bit of a party foul. If I can run down.
Oh snap!
Yeah, I'm gonna run down party foul.
That's sad.
It's a particular. Well, I think it's a minor one, but it is one. So last episode, 2 episodes ago, whenever we had Lone Eagle.
Last episode.
It was last episode. Okay. I had inadvertently said that it was brewed in Fleming, New Jersey.
Oh, that's not what I thought you'd say.
Oh, do you have another party foul?
No, I thought you were going to reference the boysenberry.
Oh, no, I think
we covered that.
Yeah, we covered that live.
Oh, they're not in Fleming.
It's Flemington.
So
I do want to make sure that I at least make that note.
You know what's funny is when you said it, I was in my head, I'm like, I think it's Flemington. And I didn't say anything because I didn't want to have to party foul myself. I was like, oh, he's probably right.
Yeah, you know what? You know what it is?
I'm not going to call him out.
Again, one of my best friends from work. And just, again, one of my close friends to begin with. Last name is Fleming. So I think I'm just used to using Fleming instead of Flemington. A ton of phlegm.
Sounds like a not good time.
No, not at all.
No, I'm not going to go into mucus facts. That's not this episode.
Insane in the memory.
Nice.
Thank you.
Sorbet King. So you're not very familiar with Tree House.
No, not at all.
Okay, so Tree House.
Not unless it's the Magic Tree House.
Right. Tree House, Magic School Bus.
Ooh.
Tree House has their flagship beer. It's called Julius. And it's one of the ones that they're most well known for. Very, very drinkable, very, very flavorful IPA. Mm-hmm. King Julius is like a supercharged version of that. So what we have here is the King Julius base recipe.
Oh.
But then it's infused with high quality guava powder and guava puree.
High quality guava powder.
Yeah. So if you've been following along, you know about the inside joke that we have about guava is that Nick had never really
I
had
have no idea actually what guava tastes like.
So we always talk about, like, oh, what lovely guava flavor in this.
This guava is really coming through strong on this one.
So today we're actually gonna find out.
Now I'm in it. I'm ready for it. I can do it. I'm excited to get my guava on.
Let's do it. On that note, and also let's get into the question.
Yeah, what do you got?
This one's this is a silly one, but which pencil sharpener would you say is more satisfying, the manual one or the electric one?
Ooh.
Because I feel like I know what my answer is, and I feel like it might be your answer too.
It is the manual because I feel like I have more control over it. I also don't like a particularly sharp. I don't like a very, very sharp pointed pencil.
I feel that.
Yeah. I like a good manual. I like a good manual one.
You're right. More control.
More control.
Sure.
I find there's something almost artistic about the process, whether it's a big one or a little one or the good old fashioned hand mounted ones.
Oh, that's the one.
That's
what I'm thinking about. Yeah.
Oh, those are great. You can't go wrong with those. And I think, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I think those are the pencil sharpeners that have solidified, not like there needs to be a debate to begin with, but the reason why the Ticonderoga No. 2 pencil is the greatest pencil of all time.
It is the standard.
It's the only one there should be. It sharpens the best in those. You don't get the frayed ends.
You're absolutely right.
Like, it's just smooth.
Yep.
When my aunt had retired from teaching in Queens, she had accumulated office supplies and school supplies over the years. So she had reached out to all of us and was like, "Hey, is there anything that anybody needs or anything?" And I'm big into my crosswords, so I was like, "Aunt Patrie, if you have any Dixon Ticonderoga No. 2s lying around, that would be great."
Yes, please.
There is a photo of me with 3 boxes of these fresh Ticonderoga pencils, and I'm so elated and so happy that I have them. They're part of my treasured items at this point.
It really is the simple things, isn't it?
I'm not a very complicated man.
I don't want to get too far into this, but the No. 2, is that in reference to the softness of the lead or the writing?
I believe it actually has to do with the size.
Oh, the diameter of the pencil?
Correct.
Okay.
Because I know that a No. 1 pencil is actually larger.
That makes sense. It's like gauges, like how it works.
Yeah. So I believe it goes like that. Stay tuned. You'll have another party foul, I'm sure,
probably
coming up as a response to that.
Probably. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm going with the same thing, manual.
I
also
also
the crank
because you can feel when it's ready with an electric one.
I haven't done it in a long time. The last time I sharpened a pencil, well over 20 years ago.
I've got the hand based one now. Actually, interestingly enough,
little turn.
Yeah, Danny had given me one that actually looks like a almost like an old oil can.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I thought it was a lighter at first, and then it turned out to be a pencil sharpener.
Just as useful for you.
Yeah, listen, you know me, sharpening pencils, lighting things on fire,
Sure.
Of course.
It's the finer things in life.
Me in a nutshell.
Exactly.
Just nothing but graphite and arson.
Wouldn't want to see you out of a nutshell. I don't know if you can smell it or have smelled this yet, but good God. Does it smell? Okay, so it smells like Galaxy Hop beers, which makes sense because Galaxy Hop beers have guava notes.
It does. I was going to say, so now I think I'm starting to at least be able to identify the smell properly.
Do you remember we had Space Diamonds?
Yes.
Smells like Space Diamonds, right?
It does.
All Galaxy beer.
Huh. So as a result, all guava.
We're getting guava notes.
We're getting guava notes.
Before we get into it, because I know for a fact I'm going to suck this thing down, I'm going to read the can. So again, this is Sorbet King. It's a double IPA. I assume double dry hop. It's got to be 8.4% by volume.
Oh, okay.
So it's up there. Sorbet King is, like I said, a rendition of King Julius, featuring the basic beer ingredients, water, malt, hops, and yeast, and a blend of dried guava powder and fresh guava puree. This high-quality guava powder imparts potent notes of ripe guava and tropical fruit, which serve to simplify the immensely fruity qualities of the base beer. Though smothered in juice-like qualities, it retains a fluffy texture and oily hoppiness that is sure to delight your palate.
I'm here for it.
I'm into it.
There was no mention, again, of copious, so I will take it.
There was not.
I will take it.
Fair enough. I am super excited
Cheers.
for this. Cheers, sir.
Oh.
This reminds me of Get Pitted, except guava and not peach.
I don't know if I've got... The mouthfeel is nice. I don't know if my tongue might be coated. Something tastes a little funky.
It did say oily.
I think that
Oily
might
hoppiness.
be what it is.
So there's a very prevalent, like, dankness.
Yeah.
And also, like, pine on the back.
Yeah. Oh, that's like spot on. And yeah, like needly pine.
Yeah, very, very piney.
I'm not sure how I feel about this.
I think it's taking me a second to, like, process it because the guava is it not, like, overly sweet, but, like, smacks you in the face as soon as you drink it. And then on the finish, it is very dry, but also very bitter.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to have to go in for another one because I'm a little confused, to be perfectly honest with you. Nothing is jumping out at me, but at the same time, there's a lot happening.
I think it takes a couple sips. I'm very excited to try another Treehouse beer. Okay. So there's... Go ahead.
I was going to say, so now on this second sip...
More smooth, less bitter.
Yeah.
More guava.
I'm getting a lot more flavor on kind of the front sides of my tongue. Wow. A little bit more of that guava. And that dry guava powder in particular. Like, I don't think it's from the puree necessarily.
It makes it intense. The
Very
concentrated
much so.
guava makes it really intense.
I'm not sure how I feel about the nature of kind
finish.
of the oily...
The finish, yeah.
Yeah.
It's different. It's something not like we've had.
You know what it reminds me of? When we did our episode, I believe it was episode 20 with N Martinis, it reminds me of when I unfortunately had the
I remember.
cheese stuffed
with the
olives
oil in
oil.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
And as a result, it's not...
There's a very prominent bitterness that I don't mind, but I didn't expect.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
I was expecting for it to be much sweeter. However, you're right, it isn't.
Because it's not a sour. It's an IPA base formula with puree and guava powder.
I think that might be what it is also. I'm expecting it to have a little bit of to be tart rather than bitter.
Right. And it's not a sour IPA either. It's just an IPA. So this is actually a little different than what we're used to when it comes to this, because even Get Pitted was a milkshake style IPA.
Right. This is fascinating.
This is different. It's very smooth.
It is. I was going to say the mouthfeel is very, very nice. You know, there's, and that's part of it as well. I would assume that a beer of this bitterness would be much lighter. Like in that it wouldn't have as pleasurable or as soft, I guess, of a feel to it.
You're right. And it says it right on the can. The oily hoppiness is like, it's there. And you're right. At first I was like, what is on my tongue? But it's just it must be the massive dose of hops that they use in this, because King Julius is, like I said, a supercharged version of Julius. So they doubled the recipe. I don't know if they doubled it, but they added more in.
It takes a couple sips.
Yeah. It's really good.
To kind of,
I don't
move
know,
your way into.
I don't know my rating yet. I don't know how high I'm going to be, but I enjoy this.
I don't know either, and as a result, I'm gonna wait maybe another,
Let's get into an
3
overthought.
to 5 minutes. Oh, please.
Let's get into an overthought in the
got?
meantime. This is a special request, because after I said this to Christina, she was like, that's going to be an overthought, right? And I was like, well, now it is. Bear with me, because it's kind of silly.
Rawr.
We
I'm sorry. I
Okay, Yogi. We have fingertips, but not toe tips. We can tiptoe, but we can't tip finger.
Now, I'm going to counter your last point there.
I can put my fingertip on something.
When you play basketball, isn't it referred to as the tip? Like when the basketball is thrown up, to
Yeah.
So you
Okay.
can fingertip.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah.
All right.
Although I will give you that. Yeah, you can't.
Right, because I
Toe
could put my fingertips on something, but that doesn't mean I'm like fingertipping, and I could put the tips of my toes on something, but it does not mean I'm tiptoeing. Things that make you go Right.
I unfortunately, my gut is telling me, and I'm to immediately stop this episode and do an unnecessarily long deep dive
On toe tips.
But on toe, yes.
Let me know what you find.
My toe tips. Okay.
I don't know. Something.
It's got to be something that has to be associated with tap dancing, though, no?
What do you mean, to tiptoe?
Well, no. To toe tip.
Well, no, we tiptoe.
We tiptoe, but do you think there's...
But we don't tip finger.
But we don't tip finger.
And we have fingertips, but not toe tips.
Oh, God, I think I just had an aneurysm. Oh, my God. I don't know what just happened. Smelling burning toast.
That'd be the sound of your brain hemorrhaging, I think.
Wow. Huh. When you said this to Christina, I imagined that her response being, this is going to be an overthought, isn't it? Was mildly out of contempt. Like, I'm imagining her going, this is going to be an overthought, isn't it?
I think she just looked at me and was like, why am I marrying this man?
Just acknowledge it, Christina. Just acknowledge it, and he'll go away.
Just like, yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
I can't wait to go on my bachelorette party.
You're right, sweetheart. Future husband.
That she might say, but also maybe not mean it in this case. Who knows? But anyway, that, part of my brain. And
my rock.
Yes. She left me. She's in Scottsdale.
My baby left me for
She left me.
Arizona.
Yep.
Oh, that's all right. She'll be back.
She'll be back.
As long as they're buying round trip.
That's true.
That's all that matters.
That's true. Actually, I have to pick her and my sister up Tuesday morning at like 5:30 in the morning.
Ew.
Yeah, it sounds terrible. And then go to work.
One of the joys of living right by the train, my friend.
Actually, I only live like 15 minutes away from Newark Airport.
Is there a train that goes directly to?
No, but we live really close. Oh, I don't.
Right.
There might be. I actually don't really know.
Because that's what I do.
I haven't even taken the train one time since I moved to.
Oh, really?
Union. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, I take the train all the time up to the airport. Super easy.
You have to transfer.
No. Well, I mean, if I take it from Allenhurst, I got to transfer in Long Branch, but like it's 2 stops.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh, so it takes you from... Oh, yeah, Newark Airport.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now approaching.
No, I would have to transfer.
Newark Liberty International Airport.
Yep, I would have to transfer.
Oh, yeah.
I would have to go to Secaucus and transfer.
Oh, all right. That's not terrible.
Nah.
All right. No one knows anything unless you're from the area. So if you just sat through all that, now you'll know how to get...
Welcome to Jersey.
Yeah. Now you'll know how to get to the airport on either the New Jersey coastline train or... What are you on?
That's a fantastic question. I have no idea.
Oh, I think you're on the Raritan Valley line.
I don't know.
Okay.
That's where I went to elementary school.
That is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look at that.
Stupid New Jersey. Okay, so anyway, do you know what a laptop's favorite snack is? It's so easy.
A laptop's favorite snack? Oh, God.
So distressed.
At first, I thought that was the answer. And then you were like, so distressed. I was like, soda what? I don't get.
Computer chips.
Oh, damn it.
That
this
was
mother
a
bites. Megabytes.
Megabytes.
God, I was going for motherboard and
no, that was good. No, if you didn't bring any attention to it, no one would even know. Just take care of it in post.
Okay, we'll take care of it in post. Note this down, Nick, in the future.
Yeah. Get one of the interns to take care of it.
So you know what? It has, now that we've sat a little bit.
Grown on me a little bit.
Yeah, now that it's become almost background, if you will.
Yep.
It's grown on me. It's nice. You really do have to get past those first couple of sips, though, to get used to, I think, you almost need like the oil to like coat your tongue.
Kind of.
And then as a result, you can start to experience more of the guava flavors and some of the guava complexities and whatnot.
The guava is very nice on the front. I will say that I like bitter things more than you do. Yeah. And this might even be teetering on too bitter. And I think only because it's on the end. Like if it was in the front a little bit more, more dispersed throughout the flavor. Yeah. I feel like it would be more palatable. And not that this isn't good, but it's just too bitter.
When it is that bitter on the back, that unfortunately is what is going to linger as well.
Right.
I think
it's good.
I'm going to throw a number. I'm going to go with a 355.
Okay.
355, 36. Reason being, as a millennial, I expect instant gratification. So I feel like the fact that I had to kind of sit for a little bit, upset me just a little bit. However,
accessibility.
I want it. I want it now. I want a golden goose now.
The snozzberries taste like snozzberries. Real thing, by the way.
Sidebar. My favorite quote and my favorite, I won't say character overall, but my favorite quote.
Violet, you're turning violet. Violet,
no,
is that? No.
It is actually Veruca Salt's mother. She only has one line. And it's when Veruca is going on and on about before she finds the golden ticket. And her father turns around and just goes, Veruca, the girls haven't shelled a nut in days. And the mother is sitting there doing cross-stitching and she doesn't look up. She doesn't look up and just goes, you're going to be very unhappy around here. You're going to be very unpopular around here, Henry. And I don't know why, but I always think that is the funniest line that there is.
You're right. It's so subtle. Like, I forgot about that.
Very unpopular around here, Henry.
Shelled a nut in days.
The girls haven't shelled a nut in days.
What a great movie.
Anywho, however, the uniqueness that they have managed to achieve that is within this beer is the redeeming feature for it. I think that if I wasn't as impressed by the complexities, we would probably be looking, at least again for me, somewhere probably closer to maybe a 3-1. So that's why, I'm going to go 355, 36.
I hate to trash Tree House on the first beer, but I think that if there was something else other than guava, like guava and like pineapple puree and guava powder.
Yeah.
Or like something like that. But
so what are you going to throw on it, you think?
It has gotten better since we've drank it.
Mm-hmm. And I love, just to note as well, I do love the can art.
Yeah, we didn't talk about the can. So it's the Sorbet King holding a half a guava.
I imagine him being like a brutal ruler.
Really? Because he looks like a nice guy.
No, I know, but that's the whole thing.
And also, he looks like he could be half in the bag in this picture.
He does. He kind of actually looks like a little swarthy. Like he's the type of person to be like, oh, we're alone now.
He's giving me the drunk eyes. He definitely is. He's like, oh.
Looks like it's just you and I.
You happen to find me with this guava half in my hand.
Oh, how embarrassing for you to have found me with this guava.
Hopefully, I don't lose half of anything else.
Oops.
Okay, I'm going to say 389.
I feel like you weren't even convinced by that.
Yeah. Okay, so I looked at the can date and I had a thought. Mm-hmm. It was canned fairly recently.
Okay.
Only on the 1st of February.
Okay. It's about 2
so maybe,
and a half-ish
maybe it's not long enough in the can. I talked about it with triple IPAs, and I really do think that holds true. But like maybe another week or two in the can
All right.
would do this beer some good and give us more of what we want.
Okay. Well, luckily, I believe that there is a second one floating around. So if anything, you'll have to, report back to us then.
Will do.
All right. I'll give it to you.
Sounds good.
So we got into computers. I've never. This was a topic that you had suggested that, to be honest with you, frightened me at first.
Did it?
Due to the vastness, due to the complexity sometimes of computers in general.
Yeah.
At this point, maybe we take a lot of computerizing, for granted. I mean, I don't know about you, but I can think, due at least I think to my dad's, my dad's work, I grew up with a computer. I always, as far as back as I can remember, always had a computer, at least even like the old like DOS and whatnot. But yeah, so it still kind of frightened me about the idea of like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Because do I even venture back to, the 50s and 60s and kind of the development and whatnot? So yeah, it was a bit of an undertaking here.
I kept it very, I got really into supercomputers after I wrote about this, after we did this show, Doc.
Are you going to go ahead and start building your own computers? You going to be one of those guys?
So I have friends that are actually very capable of doing that. And like, they all laugh at me because, they know I'm a big gamer.
Yeah.
And especially like Rocket League, I play a lot and it's much more smooth on a computer, more frames per second, whatever. So they're always like, hey man, just if you buy the parts, I'll make it for you. We know we got to get you on computer, just get a PC.
I mean, as someone, and we'll dive into this definitely a little bit. You know me, I'm not much of a gamer. I shouldn't even say not much. I'm not. But I always loved PC games.
Some of the best ones.
Big PC gamer, comparatively speaking.
Backyard Baseball.
Oh, right.
Roller Coaster Tycoon. Age of Empires, which was a good one. I don't know if you played that one, but that was a good one. I never played Doom.
You never played Doom?
Not even on the consoles.
I played Doom originally.
Damn, no, I never did.
Oh, yeah.
I was a big StarCraft guy.
Okay.
You ever play StarCraft?
No, that one I never did.
It's like a virtual chess match, but you're like building civilizations and you have to like scout out your enemy.
Oh.
They're actually really fun to watch. They're like when you have like a commentator and you could see both, both goings on at the same time. It's really fun to watch.
Everything almost came crashing down.
In 1999?
Do you remember Y2K?
Yeah, I do. You know what's funny is I was going to do a whole thing about this and forgot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I'm glad you did it.
That's what I started off with. And interestingly enough, I have been watching the college national championships on Jeopardy, and Y2K happened to be an answer last night. So I felt like this
Y2K.
I know.
What a joke.
I was also, and I'll take up this gripe later, but they were doing a question on, I think it had to do with like European history. And this student, this competitor was doing a really, really good job, kind of some like particularly obscure, pieces of knowledge in European history. And the one that they didn't get, I was infuriated by. I will discuss it at a later date. I'll discuss it with you, if anything, off camera as well. So for those of you guys that don't know, perhaps you're part of the younger portions of our generation.
There may be many of you. We don't know.
There might be. Let us know. Hit us up on the socials. You heard them already.
We want to hear. We want to know how old you are. That's not creepy. We want to know.
Yeah. ASL. So Y2K refers to a potential computer errors due to formatting and storage data for dates in and after the year 2000.
Right. So essentially, like in 1999, for some reason, there was a big panic that when the computers changed over the date in the coming year, everyone was worried that the computer would start at 0.
Correct. Now, and here's the reason why. So computers had their 4-digit years represented by only the last 2 digits. So the fear, like you said, that when the new year began, there would be no distinction between the year, specifically 2000 and 1900.
Right.
Do you know how this came about, though?
No.
Okay. So prior to the year 1931, the year was always written out in full. 1929, 1920, the whole 9 yards. It became more fashionable or accepted to only note the last 2 digits of the year because the number could never be mistaken for the day or the month.
That's fair.
Right. I said the same thing because at first I was like, I don't get it. Like, why? And that totally makes sense. There aren't 32 days in any one month.
Right.
So leading up to the year 2000, countries and companies, they were kind of aware of it, or they were aware, However, there was still a prediction that any sort of glitch in computer systems worldwide could result in anywhere between $400 billion and $600 billion in damages. That was the fear. Concerns, however, as is so often the case as we live through, climate crisis right now, I'll say it. It is what it is. If you don't like it, find another goddamn beer podcast. So, or don't, or stay tuned, I guess. Sorry.
I mean, you can go anywhere else, but you're never going to get what you want.
Exactly. And you're going to get what you want, but it's going to be lies. So naturally, concerns arose long before the year 2000 or leading up to the year 2000. The most attention was actually drawn when a gentleman by the name of Peter de Jager wrote an article for Computer World called Doomsday 2000. And that was really what put this kind of like on the map. And this was roughly in the early to mid 90s. People started paying attention.
Oh, wow. Quite some time before the new year.
However, even before that, the alarm was first raised in 1958 by a gentleman by the name of Bob Bemer. So he had worked for IBM, and he alerted the company about this potential issue. He alerted the U.S. government about this issue, and he had notified the International Organization for Standardization. So I guess there is some sort of governing body that, no one really gave any attention to it. So the panic was primarily, obviously everything in retrospect, like it was really fueled by the media and conspiracy more than anything else. Of course. So relatively few incidents actually occurred once the year 2000 began. So in, for example, Onagawa, Japan, an alarm had sounded at a nuclear power plant 2 minutes before midnight. In the US, a ground control system processing information from an unspecified number of spy satellites had gone offline.
Oh, that's a big deal.
It was, but they had a contingency plan in place and everything was up and running. In Delaware, 150 Racino slot machines stopped working. Little things like that. Perhaps the most egregious, though, was in Sheffield, in England. So a bug had caused, and this is really unfortunate. A bug had caused a miscalculation of mothers' ages and their risk levels of their babies being born with Down syndrome. So they had, this is something that, and again, I don't have a wife or children, so I don't know this, but evidently there is, I guess, tests that are conducted for, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, again, the chances of a child being born with Down syndrome increase with age. So there was a miscalculation then about the mother's age in relation to, again, their children potentially being born with Down syndrome, and it was sent out to 154 pregnant women. As a result of that, that miscalculation and that information, 2 abortions had been carried out, and 4 babies were born with Down syndrome to mothers who had previously been told that their risk level was very low. So there was, some unfortunate, outcomes. However, overall, most countries and companies didn't have an issue due to early intervention. Worldwide at the time, they had spent roughly $300 billion to prevent any issues. The U.S. Wow. Yeah, the U.S. had spent about $134 million leading up to Y2K, and then an additional $13 billion afterwards. But the best part is, and I think, some countries didn't do anything at all. South Korea and Italy pretty much didn't do anything, and they experienced really the same minimal issues as any other country did. So, Y2K.
See? Prepare. If you're prepared, you're going to be fine.
As a former disgraced Boy Scout, always be prepared is the Boy Scouts motto.
That makes sense. I vividly remember Y2K being a real concern.
I do
for
too.
Everyone.
I do too.
And like looking back, like sure, it would have caused a lot of issues, but would it have caused a lot of issues for like us?
So I think, at least, based on, and basically, again, almost everything I have is from, Wikipedia, particularly because of, again, how in-depth a lot of this subject is. So it really does seem, to your point, because of preparation, that there wasn't, because there was a lot of genuine concern about, quite literally, and again, for those folks that are maybe too young, or for those folks that forgot, like, there was concerns about like planes falling out of the sky, about, again, entire like electric grids and banking systems being inoperable. So like
that's a concern.
There was a real genuine concern. We say on the eve of potential, cyber attacks yet again in 2022.
By the way, if she don't know about Y2K, she's too young for you, bro.
Amen.
Just saying.
Same thing if he don't know about it either.
He's too young for you, chick. Sis.
All people, listen, just...
If they don't know about Y2K, disassociate yourself with
them. What do you mean you don't do it? Everybody does it. We all love to do it.
Did you do any research? I don't know if you did, because I didn't know this term before I started to. It's a unit of measurement called petaflops.
No, but that's so funny.
Okay, why?
I just think petaflops.
You like that word? Petaflop.
Well, peta, concerned, but flops makes it kind of funny then.
Okay. Fair enough. Actually, it's an acronym. It stands for floating. I have it here. I'm going to find it. Anyway, petaflops are a unit of measurement to essentially tell you how fast or how many processes a computer can handle at one time.
Oh.
So what I did was I dove super deep into supercomputers because they really fascinate me.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious.
So a petaflop can be expressed as 1 quadrillion.
How many zeros is that?
It's 1,000 trillion. So a million is, yeah.
Okay, forget I asked.
Yeah,
Good Lord.
It's quite a bit. So a million is 6, a billion is 9, so it's got to be 15. 15 zeros for quadrillion.
Okay.
Right, that makes sense? It sounds like it makes sense.
All right, yeah, we'll stick with it.
So this can be expressed as 1 quadrillion or 1,000 trillion. For reference, there are, and I needed to do this math because I was curious, there are 10,000 100,000s in a billion.
There are 10,000
100,000s.
100,000s in a billion. Okay.
Right? And there are 1,000 trillions in a quadrillion.
Okay.
So we're talking about a number that like we really, for all intents and purposes, can't grasp.
No.
We will never know anything to be this amount of data or of whatever.
Yeah.
Like this is too high of a number to even pinpoint anywhere.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Okay. IBM's Roadrunner, this was the name of a supercomputer.
Yeah.
In 2008, and this is the only article I could find about it because I guess after 2008 it kind of became obsolete. Mm-hmm. But IBM's Roadrunner broke the petaflop barrier. So up until 2008, no supercomputer had even touched that amount of processes. I'm pretty sure they're called floating point processes or floating memory processes, something like that.
Now, just to clarify, or potentially, when you say processes, we're talking about, again, very much in the same sort of way that like right now in our brains, we've got synapses that are currently like firing and connecting and things along those lines.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Just wanted to make sure it wasn't a matter of like, I'm downloading a song and I'm also going ahead and, typing up a paper.
It's more than that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more than that. They refer to them as floating points. So I honestly didn't get into that. And I wish I had it written down. I thought I wrote it down. But anyway, the IBM's Roadrunner clocked in at 1.105 petaflops. So just barely ahead of, it was called Cray's Jaguar supercomputer at 1.059. At the time, breaking the petaflop barrier was expected to have profound and incredibly far-reaching effects on science as we know it. So some of the things that this new this new unit of measurement allows us to do this amount of processes. Some of these things were computer-based drug design.
Oh.
Yep. Astrophysical simulation, the modeling of environmental pollution, and the study of long-term climate change. So all things. All things that we've been taking care of.
Wow,
right?
That's fascinating.
So supercomputers refer to computers that go above and beyond ordinary desktop computers, and I mean like the complex calculations that they can do far exceed this. So as I said before, they're called floating point operations per second. That's what a flop stands for. Floating point operation per second.
Okay.
They're measured in quadrillions.
Mm-hmm.
So for reference, your basic laptop and desktop only ranges to tens of teraflops.
Only tens?
Tens of teraflops.
Okay.
So tera is 3, I think, right?
Correct.
So thousands of...
Oh, no.
There's 1,000 teraflops.
3 is tetra.
Tetra. Okay. I don't know.
Okay.
But anyway, it's not nearly as much, is what I'm getting at. Like, the supercomputers, far and away, are amazing.
Yeah.
For what they're used for. The one now currently ranking as number 1 fastest supercomputer in the world. It's called the Japanese Fugaku.
Ooh.
Okay. So I said before the Roadrunner was able to break the petaflop barrier by just barely in 2008.
Right.
Okay. This $1 billion monster supercomputer contains 7,630,848 computer cores to power it.
Yeah.
Okay. It consumes 29,899 kilowatts of energy, which I did a little digging because that didn't mean anything to me. So I'll tell you in a second what that means. Yeah. But their petaflop performance, 442,010 petaflops.
It's funny because the whole thing that's been kind of like sitting in the back of my head thus far is when you had mentioned the year 2008. And for folks, of a certain age or even older, like 2008 doesn't feel like a terribly long time ago. 12 years is a decent
and
amount.
It's really not that long
14 years ago.
Yeah, it's not even that long ago.
No, exactly. But I guess I was not expecting, but I was waiting for you to get to like where we are now and just throughout. And I think I want this to be maybe a little bit of a blanket statement. Despite, I think, some of the doom and gloom that we may realize or think that we're experiencing on a daily basis, like humanity and humankind, like this is the kind of shit that gives me so much hope.
Yeah,
realistically for the future.
I see what you're saying. We have come exponentially further than we have in the last 14 years than we did
in the previous 50,
all the years.
75 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So the Fugaku clocks in at 442,000 petaflops.
Wow.
Okay. So I talked to you about the kilowatts, 29,899 kilowatts.
Yeah.
It means nothing to me. So I needed to do a little digging and comparing and whatever. So kilowatts are usually expressed in kilowatt hours. It's a form of energy consumption. It's on your meter right now.
Yeah.
That's how they measure how much you pay for your electric bill, right? 1 kilowatt hour is the ability for something or someone to sustain 1,000 watts of energy for an hour. Okay. Kilojoules are also the same measurement. So 1 kilowatt hour is equal to 3,600 kilojoules. Same thing.
Okay.
Okay. In most countries, on nutritional labels, I didn't know this, but calories or energy is represented in kilojoules.
Yeah, and I think if you've ever been on a stationary bike or on a stationary, like
I've seen it there too. Yep.
Yeah, it usually has all of a sudden like your the amount of like watts that you are actively producing. So that tracks.
Okay. So here's some comparisons. 1 square meter of Earth receives 1.4 kilojoules of solar radiation every second in full daylight.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh.
A human in sprint has about 3 kilojoules of kinetic energy. And a cheetah at a 70 mile per hour sprint has roughly 3,600 kilojoules. Wait, is that right? No. Hold on. Lost my spot.
Dude.
20 kilojoules, I'm sorry.
Okay.
70 mile per hour sprinting cheetah has about 20 kilojoules of energy.
So you're talking thousands and thousands of cheetahs.
Right. So I did a little basic math.
Yeah.
29,899 kilowatts multiplied by 3,600 kilojoules
Yeah.
would give you 107,636,400 kilojoules.
Holy shit. Oh my God.
So this computer, not only massive, but sucking up so much power.
What is it actively doing? And I'm sorry if I'm getting ahead of you.
That's okay. No, you're actually right on cue. So believe it or not, it sounds like a lot of power, but this is actually a lower power consumption than its predecessor, and it was not a Japanese computer. It's called the K computer. I believe it was a US computer.
Okay.
And
that sounds actually vaguely familiar, yeah.
I feel like I thought the same thing when I read about it.
I think we discussed this, if I'm not mistaken, when we were talking about magnets.
The K computer?
I want to say so.
We'll have to go back and listen.
Okay.
So that computer, like let's just say arbitrary number, the Fugaku is 100 times more powerful than the K computer. And the Fugaku only puts out like X amount, but it's actually like ratio wise, if you scaled up the K computer, it would surpass the Fugaku in power consumption.
So that's, again, I guess that's also like a beautiful sign of almost like progress.
Right. It's relatively low compared to other things that could potentially be that power.
Yeah.
Although it's the only one right now.
Huh.
Okay, so here are some social and scientific issues that the Fugaku can help with. I found these very interesting. Innovative drug discovery, which I went into, with the first one when supercomputers really broke the petaflop. Innovative drug discovery infrastructure through functional control of biomolecular systems.
Oh my goodness.
I know it's a mouthful.
It is, but I feel like it does make sense.
So in layman's terms, new and exciting drug makeup that plays well within the tiny ecosystem of your body.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Essentially. Like, yeah, they can change the molecular structure of drugs so they don't act negatively, is what it sounds like to me. Huh. There's also advancement of meteorological and environmental global predictions.
Oh, I love it.
Yep. All things that are great for everyone.
Yeah.
Development of new fundamental technologies for high efficiency energy creation, storage, and use.
Got
me right there. And then this was the big one actually for me. Clarification of the fundamental laws and evolution of the universe.
Wow. This is, again, one of those times where or highlight, I think, a little bit of the change of, like, oh, it's a computer nerd. Oh, you like computers? That's so nerdy. But like, these are the folks and these are the systems and processes that are benefiting, like you said, definitely, every single living organism on this planet.
Yep. You're right. It's a sign of progress, and it's very practical. Like, it's not, not being used for malintent.
Right. This isn't an example of billionaires flying, going ahead and orbiting,
putting themselves in a penis rocket.
Yeah, and going into space, but some of them also like not space.
Yeah, right.
And doing that. Wow.
So just one little note that I thought was really interesting, but there's no evidence behind it. Earlier this year, or maybe it was last year, the article was from 2020. China unveiled 2 new supercomputers that are thought to work in the realm of 1,000 teraflops, so would blow away the Fugaku. And it's thought that they're operated in secret right now.
Again, if I'm not mistaken, I'm almost 100% sure now that you mentioned that I think some aspect of it may have come up during magnets, potentially.
Okay.
Oh, that is brilliant.
So that was the Fugaku. I thought that was really cool. And I have a seriously new appreciation for supercomputers. Entirely.
Because I think that the term is also one of those that we probably, like you said, we can't necessarily like wrap our brains around. We're
right.
Like,
we just toss it around.
Every computer is a supercomputer.
Right. Like we know it's powerful. We know what computers do, but this is different.
To know what it actually is doing, or some of these are actually doing, I think it's beautiful.
The way they describe it is all these little millions of floating points of data allow much more complex simulations to be processed, and more variables are able to be added in. So there's more control, and there's also more possibilities.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm here for all of it.
Really cool.
I went into then, perhaps more tangible aspects than for computers.
All right, I'm listening.
And I went for, and we had kind of discussed this a little bit earlier, but again, I went for the best PC games of all time according to Nick Messina.
Love this.
I've got two in particular. You mentioned one of them before.
Backyard Baseball?
No.
It's Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Fantastic game.
It is a construction, for those of you guys that are not familiar necessarily, it is a construction and management game that is themed around
theme parks.
Amusement parks, exactly. It is
great game.
Great game. So it was developed by Chris Sawyer, who is a Scottish game developer, who had first developed a game known as Transport Tycoon in 1994, which I hadn't been aware of.
Nope.
So as a result of making some profits, from that Transport Tycoon, he had been asked to go ahead and kind of put together a bit of a sequel. And he started to kind of travel then as a result throughout the UK and throughout the US. And when he was going to amusement parks, and that's part of where Roller Coaster Tycoon had kind of come about.
Nice.
So the game was developed over the course of 2 years, during which Sawyer had written all of the code, and then play tested the game with friends and family. So for the game, he received about $30 million in royalties.
Wow.
The game was released for the first time on March 22nd, 1999. And nearly a year later then, on your birthday, on January 18th of 2000, it was announced that it was the best-selling PC game of 1999.
Nice.
There were 2 sequels to the game, the last of which was published by Atari, in fact. And so what wound up happening then was that in 2005, Sawyer sued Atari for apparently not paying royalties, and then the company sued him in return in 2007. So as a result of this, and they settled out of court or whatever. So as a result of this, he actually took a step away from the industry for a period of time. And particularly it was because of that and the growing number of violent PC games. He didn't like violent PC games at all. He eventually came back, and now he's doing quite a bit of work with mobile games and mobile applications and whatnot. And did you play Roller Coaster Tycoon at all?
Did I? For days on end, what felt like.
Days, hours. It is such a pleasing and enjoyable game. And I don't know if you remember this, but I had written this down.
Try me.
The best part. You remember that there were obviously guests in the park.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
What am I going to say?
Go ahead, say it.
No, let me say.
You're going to talk about when you put the guests on a plot of land?
No, you're going for something sadistic, aren't you? No.
Okay.
I wasn't going to go for that.
Go ahead.
So I don't know if it was in the first... I don't know if it was in the original one or at least in the second one, but you could name the guests.
Yeah, you can.
And if you renamed one of the guests Chris Sawyer... again, the developer of the game, that character would stop every once in a while, pull out a camera, and take a picture of the amusement parks. Or
really?
It would take a picture.
Oh, that's so random. That is really cool.
Thought that was great.
That's a cool little build-in.
The second greatest game of all time, according to
you,
Nick Messina. What do you think?
Did we talk about it before?
We hadn't. There is someone right now that is screaming
probably
at their speaker going,
I feel like I didn't play it because I can't name it, but that might not be true. Tell me.
It's The Sims.
Oh, okay. See, I don't. All right. So you're right, but by the time I got to The Sims, it was already on console.
Oh, okay.
I forget that The Sims started on PC, but that makes sense.
Oh, I was.
That's another great one.
The biggest.
It's so fun.
Biggest fan of The Sims.
Well, because it's like, it's your life, but you have control over it.
Exactly. It's. I mean, so in that it is described as a strategic life simulation game.
Right.
Essentially, you play God, which
Isn't that what we want? Isn't that what
Speaks-
everyone wants?
Absolutely. So it was first released actually a year after Roller Coaster Tycoon. It was released in the year 2000.
Damn, what a golden age.
What a beautiful, and this is really, again, when computers, really became almost, quite paramount in people's lives.
Right.
You had the personal computer.
Every household, yeah.
So it was developed by a guy by the name of Will Wright as a follow-up to his, as a follow-up to his earlier series, SimCity. So he had started to develop the game based on a book by Christopher Alexander, who had written this architecture book in 1977. And it was an urban design book that had focused more on like the utilization of a home and home space rather than aesthetics. So he really liked that idea. And the development began in 1991, during which, at the same time, Wright had lost his own home to the Oakland firestorm of 1991.
That sounds dangerous.
I remember wanting to do a deep dive, but then held back because I was like, the Oakland firestorm.
Because firestorm.
Yeah, because it's a firestorm.
Right.
Like,
Also, new name for the Washington Commanders.
Firestorm. Oh my God. I hope you're paying attention to the free advice you're getting here.
Somebody get the guy who owns that team on the phone.
So the basic play of the game includes the creation of AIs known as Sims, and then they're influenced by the character to play out on their lives. So as a result of this, there is really no final objective. So the game can go on forever. So as a result, it's actually, in certain regards, it's considered to be more of a toy than it is a game.
Okay.
In many ways. So, it had won numerous awards, including GameSpot's Game of the Year for 2000. After it was released on February 4th of 2000, it quickly gained attraction, becoming the best-selling game of 2000 and of 2001.
Damn.
By 2002, it was the best-selling PC game in history at that point, selling 6.3 million copies worldwide. It is still considered to be one of the best-selling games of all time. That's according to, again, the Guinness Book of World Records.
For sure, yeah.
And the entire game series, because there's The Sims, there's Sims 2, there's Sims Live
I think
Large,
all the way up to 4
Vacation.
or 5.
Oh, they're absolutely, and so many different variations. At this point, the entire game series has an estimated lifetime sales of over $5 billion.
Wow.
It is incredible.
What a concept, like...
I mean, it's such a smart game. It is. There's something, again, terribly alluring and interesting and fascinating about it. The way that I think like young folks maybe, and I've never played it, but like the way that folks nowadays are kind of attracted to like Minecraft. Like The Sims was Minecraft long before Minecraft was a thing.
Right.
Love it. Love it.
Speaking of, Minecraft is the highest selling game of all time.
I
Most
believe
downloaded game of all time.
Something
it's
along
free.
those lines. Yeah.
I believe it's still free.
I want to say that it actually might be the second one. The first one kept coming up as something called Worlds Unknown or Discoveries Unknown. It was something like that. Yeah, Unknown Planets.
PUBG. Player Unknown Battlegrounds.
Yes.
PUBG.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually.
Minecraft passed PUBG.
Oh, really?
Yeah. For a little while, PUBG was up there.
Okay.
And Minecraft. Okay, so forever, Tetris held the record.
Yes.
Makes sense. One of the oldest games ever. But then when Minecraft came onto the scene, it blew by everything. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, either PUBG came first and was at the top and Minecraft blew by, or Minecraft was first and then PUBG came out and PUBG skyrocketed, but then Minecraft kind of flipped it over and went past anyway.
All right. Again, buckle up for another party foul just in case.
Seriously.
We'll clarify just in case.
We clarify. We do a good job.
Damn it.
We do a good job.
Get off.
I got one more joke.
What do you got?
Why was the computer late for work?
Due to high-speed internet traffic.
Ooh, that's a good answer, but it's just not the way I phrased it.
Okay.
I said his drive was too crowded.
Oh, I like that too. All right. You know what?
Hey,
I'll
that's
take
pretty
it.
good.
I'll take it.
Okay, all right. So this is my last thing. I took an exact 180 from supercomputers, and I wanted to learn about the world's smallest computer.
Oh, interesting.
And this was another one of those that was weird. I can only find the only articles I could find about this were from 2018. So either it hasn't advanced since then, or I just wasn't searching right. But anyway, the world's smallest computer was created by a team at Michigan State. No, I'm sorry, University of Michigan. Okay. This tiny, tiny, tiny little computer makes a grain of rice look big.
Oh, it's that small.
It's a tiny square, 0.3 millimeters cubed.
Oh my God.
On each side. It's very, very small. It actually has a very interesting use. So it beat out the previous smallest computer. God bless you.
Excuse me.
By being a tenth of its size almost. The previous smallest computer was 1 millimeter cubed. This one's only 0.3.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so, I mean, super micro. Like grain of sand size. That's what we're talking about here. Actually, there are teams or there are people, even the people that have created this, where the word computer is loosely defined because of the way that it operates. So it's a tiny, tiny little piece, and it actually has light receptors on it. So it's light powered, but the light comes from the base station.
Oh.
And what's more interesting about this is that it's a light powered device that we routinely put inside people's bodies. So it goes totally dark once it's actually put in use. So nobody really knows if this is actually a computer or not, but this is what I found about it. So we use this to, this is crazy. It can detect temperature changes as little as 0.1 degrees Celsius.
Oh, that's super tiny.
In the area of only a few cells in your body. So in a very, very small area and over like a massively, or precise range. So it's actually used for possibly detecting cancer, because the way they go on to describe it is that tumors or cancer cells are thought to have a different temperature than the other cells in the body. So it was in 2018, at least anyway, it was thought that they would be able to use this for like scans.
Yeah.
Like put it in someone's body or like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, what a PET scan is?
Yeah.
Kind of like in that same sense. And
Yeah.
they put this little thing in people's bodies and detect temperature changes.
Huh.
So even though the jury's kind of still out on whether or not it's a computer, it still kind of has the basic functions of one because it records data and sends it back to the home base.
If we are not living...
It's amazing. They're smaller than a grain of rice. Someone had to build that.
Yeah, like what do you even how do you solder
Tweezers,
something like
I don't
that?
know.
Like
very small tweezers.
Very, very, very tiny tweezers. Like
I do not have hands for that kind of work.
No, I've got these butcher hands too. I've got meaty hands.
The size alone is insane of this device. And then just the way that it works really blows my mind. Like the light from the base station powers the unit. But then, what happens when
Well, yeah, I guess it's one of those things. How do you keep a track of something like that then? Also,
got me.
If it's that small, yeah, I lose my keys every now and then.
Right.
I can't imagine having to go ahead and keep a track of something smaller than a grain of rice in and around one of my cells.
Right. It's pretty crazy.
It's fascinating, though.
Yeah.
I bet that in connection with one of those supercomputers will solve everything. Perhaps.
Or maybe what if we could shrink a supercomputer down to the size of the world's smallest computer?
Get those folks at Fukuyama on the horn right now.
Fugaku. Fugake?
I was just saying. I was having this conversation recently.
Yeah.
The Japanese way of answering the phone, best way in the world.
You'll have to familiarize me.
It's mushi mushi.
That's how they say hello?
A mushi mushi. Yeah.
Oh, that's what I'm going to start doing.
Come on. You can't... Debt collector? A mushi mushi. You're never going to be upset with that. Never at all.
That's new.
You owe money for your child alimony. Well, I can't say.
I'm just going to start saying that when people ask me, can I speak to Alex? Mushy mushy?
Mushy mushy. Yeah. Right? I could be wrong, but that one's not one I'm going to look up because if I find out that I am, I'm going to be very, very upset.
Very sad.
Very, very, very sad.
Very sad. So that was my last little piece of information. I actually did more digging into supercomputers after I shut down the show doc because I was so interested.
I kind of had to hold back because once I dove into The Sims, I was like, oh man.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I had to stop myself because I was like, I'm going to go down a terrible, terrible hole and get sucked back in.
I'm glad you brought that back up because I wanted to say something when you were talking about the other game,
Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Do you remember there was one? You know how when you progressed through your first theme park, you would get bigger ones, and they would come with more, more equipped, and you would. It was different challenges.
Called Forest Frontiers. I
think
believe.
You're right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So the two roller coasters stuck out to me very, very vividly, and they were dueling. One was white, one was black.
Oh my!
And
God.
one was called agoraphobia.
Agoraphobia and arachnophobia.
It was arachnophobia.
Oh my God!
Those stick out in my head. I always think about that. And then what I thought you were going to say before was that you used to take guests and put them on a plot of land and then turn it into water.
Oh no, that's
or raise it up in the air.
That's
or when you would turn the speed of the roller coaster way up, and it was the one that just
go right off.
It launched off.
Well, that's the equivalent of in The Sims when you would make a swimming pool, tell them to go ahead and go swimming, and then take out the ladder. Take out the ladder. And you know what, folks? And we've gone on to be very productive members of society.
And they said Grand Theft Auto was a violent video game.
Come on. We were quite literally creating and destroying life.
Look, actually.
Oh, God. Well, on that bombshell.
You don't have anything else?
No, I don't.
Oh, Nick, you let me down. No, I'm just kidding.
Did I?
No, not at all.
I was going to say, you
never
said you were
let
done
me
also.
down.
Oh.
I'm sad we have to wrap up, but we're going to hang out with some buddies soon.
We are. And we're going to go have fun with those scallywags.
Those same scallywags that you all may be familiar with.
You might be. You might want to go back and check one of our previous episodes. I believe it was Combo Birthday.
Definitely. I would say check out Combo Birthday every day because every day is Combo Birthday.
It is. Yeah. Every day is but a celebration. I'd like to think.
It's what we're here for. Listen. You stay beautiful.
You stay beautiful.
You stay beautiful.
You
but
stay
also
beautiful, but also a little bit less than we are.
Also, I was going to say also to get beautiful, you should go follow us on Instagram at Beers End Podcast, or you can come subscribe on YouTube.
Yep. Also,
because that's a thing now.
Yep.
Also, Beers End Podcast.
Beers End Podcast.
And on Twitter at Beers End 1.
Or shoot us an email.
Please do at beersendpodcast@gmail.com.
That is correct.
We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Peace.